How do airbags works? The airbags function through in a rapid chemical reaction traced by a collision, like a sensor sends an electronic signal to the ignition, and which initiates the decomposition of the sodium acid. This reaction produces nitrogen gas, with inflates in milliseconds, providing the collision that protects the passengers of the impact. What chemical reactions are performed in airbags to produce the gas required to inflate it? The inflation involves that there are three key reactions. The discomponents of the sodium acid. This reaction generates nitrogen gas, and near it inflates the airbag. Neutralizing the sodium metals, the secondary reaction. The sodium metals which is highly reactive with neutralizing using potassium nitrogen and producing an additional nitrogen gas. The formation of the stable silicates. There are the three reactions that stabilize the interest. For prevent the reaction are stabilized into interest silicates. How you can calculate the amount of substance required to produce the gas neutralized inflate in airbag? We use the ideal gas law, that it's calculated with pressure, volume, the R constant, and the temperature, and the number of moles that we are wanna calculate. Calculate the number of moles of nitrogen gas using the ideal gas law. Release that the number of moles of nitrogen that are required, that moles that sodium, with use stoichiometrical forms for main reaction, multiplying the moles of sodium of calculate the moles of sodium acid, and then with that this by the molar mass we determine the mass necessary to inflate the airbag. How you can calculate the amount of energy absorbed or realized by an airbag? We calculate it using the enthalpy changes for the reaction, so that give us like it's minus 90 entropy. No, minus 90 entropy changes that give us that reaction could have in every temperature that is spontaneous. And considering the energy toxicity and the environmental damage, what precautions should be taken with the region and production? Sodium acid is high toxicity and reactive. It must be stopped at any form menaces by helped with the protection equipment. Sodium acid metals reacts violently with water, and they are neutralized by the potassium, and that is essential to prevent the harsh byproducts. Disposing by a project, they properly dispose that a nitrogen gas that it enters silicate as a safe. Prevent the sodium acid and a sodium metal from contaminate the environmental following. It's strictly disposal regulations for that. How can chemical reaction in airbags save lives? That it's a rapid production of nitrogen. The gas combustion impacts during the collision and reduce the forces experimented by the passenger. This prevents and saves lives by absorbing the kinetic energy, minimize the contact with the harsh superficies, or reducing the traumatic accidents. How it's necessary best way to dispose an airbag to prevent the environmental contamination? Certificate disassembly. control the detonation of the airbag if they are necessary, and recycle the disposal, storage this disposal with some precautions, and compliance with the regulations following by the local environmental safety laws. That's all.